The following production is produced by the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
Good evening and welcome to Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at SUNY Oneonta. And tonight we're going to spotlight the men's and women's tennis programs as their seasons have already started and off and running. So please join me after the break where I'll be joined by tonight's first guest.
What makes D3 special is the ability to participate in my team and within the broader community.
The perfect ending to a perfect season.
Being a D3 student athlete has completely expanded my life.
I learned how to lead. I really found a voice.
What time is it?
It's more about the experience rather than just a sport itself.
Without the experience of being a Division III student athlete, I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
NCAA Division III. Discover, develop, dedicate.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now is senior men's tennis player Joey Milstein. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Hey, Geoff, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing real well.
Season's off and running. The men have played in the Flower City tournament. Why don't we recap that a little bit?
So yeah, we just came back from the Flower City tournament in Rochester, and we had a great run there. We beat St. Lawrence in the first round, then moved on to University of Rochester, pulled out a really close match, and then unfortunately lost to Roberts Wesleyan in the finals, but we really did a great job, and it was really great to be there.
Now that tournament every year attracts some of the top teams in our region. I mean, I know the University of Rochester, they were ranked at the end of last year in the top 20.
Right.
What does it mean for you guys to play teams of that caliber?
Oh, it's awesome. It's great, and it's really, from when I was a freshman here to now, it's really been just such a great experience, and the teams have progressively gotten harder. And last year we had a tough 7-2 loss to University of Rochester, and beating them this year was definitely great for the whole team.
Right now, and so because we now, what do we have? We have some new faces this year.
Absolutely.
You and Adam Shapiro, and we've got the two Slifkin brothers,
Yep.
Josh and Adam.
Yep.
Adam. On the team as senior leaders. What is it with some younger guys? We got a transfer. What does that mean for you as being a senior leader now in our program?
Yeah, senior leadership is definitely really important, and I've always seen it from the seniors. From me, when I started, there was about 8 freshmen, and we slowly dwindled the amount of freshmen. So having that experience is definitely a huge positive in senior leadership, and it's really cool to get to see the younger guys look up to someone. It's really awesome.
Yeah. Now, what kind of a leader do you consider yourself? Are you a vocal guy or?
I'm a low hierarchy type leader. I don't like to have the huge differences. I like to be more cohesive and have more of everybody's on one level. If we're all speaking on the same level, it's great.
Right.
And being able to understand any complaints, or if anybody is if they're really enjoying something, it's really great for them to speak up and tell me about it, and I can tell whoever needs to be told.
Okay. Now, tennis, the sport of tennis here, both men's and women's, and we'll talk to our Lawrence Golnick of the women's tennis team. It's year-round. I mean, You guys play in the fall and you play in the spring, even though they consider your real season maybe more in the spring. So the fall season, what kind of things do you guys try to work on during the fall season?
Well, fall is definitely a great opportunity to start conditioning, because some people maybe over the summer didn't condition as much as they like to, or they're maybe in really great shape, so they're working on more technical things.
Yeah.
The fall is great for everyone because you can kind of work on what you need to work on, and you do get that match play in there, but you're still working up toward that spring season. So for me, I'm really working more on my technical game because I stayed in great shape over the summer, but now it's more technical and my strokes and fundamentals.
Okay, now as we enter the spring season, of course we used to compete in the Northeastern Athletic Conference a couple years. Now we're back to being an independent. So how important do you think now is it to play those kinds of, because we go to Middlebury, we play some teams up there that are nationally ranked. I mean, Middlebury's
absolutely.
either 1 or 2 every year.
Yeah.
What does it mean for you guys to build that kind of a schedule and play those kinds of teams?
Yeah, these teams that we're playing right now are great. The NEAC was a good conference, but now that as being independent and getting to play these challenging teams, it's really great for everyone. You can see everybody's game rises to a new level when you play a better opponent. So it's really great to see that.
Right, the better people you play, the hope that the guys can rise to the occasion and play those kinds of teams, which is good. What other kinds of things do you do on campus?
Well, right now I have a campus job at the Technology Instructional Program for Students, the TIP Center, and we go in and put on presentations for different classrooms on various Microsoft Office products and smartboard technologies, and it's really given me the opportunity to do a lot of public speaking, and it's been such a great experience.
Now, your major here is
business economics.
And what are you kind of hoping to do with that?
Well, this summer I worked in New York City for JP Morgan in the financial services industry, so I'm hoping to pursue that in the future.
Wow, financial, money guy.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, who doesn't like money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Some of the other things you've done while you're here, you actually took a semester off to study abroad. Why don't you give us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. SUNY has such an amazing study abroad system, and what I did is I looked up and I really wanted to go to an English-speaking country, so I ended up attending Bond University in Brisbane, Australia. Actually, it's on the Gold Coast, a suburb of Brisbane, and it's similar to like a Myrtle Beach, South Carolina of Australia. And the one thing that made Bond so great is that half the college is international, and amongst the international kids, half of them are study abroad. So not only did I live with 4 Australian kids, 1 kid from Florida, and myself. So it was really interesting to get to see all the cultural differences. And I also had the opportunity to make a ton of friends in the United States that I've been seeing and I talk to on like a monthly and weekly basis that have been some of my best friends.
Now, of course, with Facebook and Twitter and all those kinds of social networking, the world obviously is a smaller place now.
Absolutely.
How important for you in your whole educational, 4 years here, where do you think that fits, and how important do you think that was to be able to do something like that as a student?
Oh, social networking has enhanced the experience to a whole new level. I mean, I can't imagine what studying abroad would be like without Skype technology and being able to talk to my parents once a week or whenever I needed to talk to them when I was traveling, and I could show them my room and they could see it visually instead of having to take pictures and send postcards. But now, even when I'm back, I'm Skyping and using Uvu to talk to all my friends from study abroad so I can talk to multiple people in a room. So it's almost like we're all together again.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, any other memories from your athletic career here during your 4 years? Maybe to highlight maybe one thing? I mean, it's, you have a lot. I know you do.
Yeah, well, personal athletic memories, I remember our tennis team goes on an awesome spring trip to Florida. And that seems to be where I play some of my best tennis down in the hot weather, and I remember playing a really, really intense match. And I knew the match was pretty much over. The other team had won, but I still went out there and won it in a 3rd set super tiebreak, this one match, and it was just definitely a highlight of my career personally.
Well, that's really good. So, well, we certainly wish you good luck this year. As again, it's all year long, and you keep yourself in shape. And we certainly wish the men's tennis program success this year. And maybe we get to come, maybe we can have you come back in the springtime, talk to us again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Geoff.
Well, thanks for coming by. Well, I'd like to thank Joe Milstein for coming by tonight. And join me after the break, where I'll be joined by head coach Bill May.
WUOW 104.7 FM is the region's premier radio station, offering award-winning programming from National Public Radio and Pacifica Radio networks, giving you the chance to become more informed about the arts, information, and entertainment from around the country and around the world. WUOW is your community radio station. Join us and support the sound.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is head men's and women's tennis coach Bill May. Welcome back to the show, Bill.
Glad to be back. Thank you.
This is like appearance number 4 or 5, isn't it?
Yes.
You're like a pro now.
Yes, I'm getting to be a pro.
Well, we love having the coaches on because there's always so many good things to talk about. Why don't we start right in? We're already really in season with the women, and we've already had a couple weekends of matches. How's it going so far?
It's going very well. We're off to a great start. We're 4-1 overall. We have a couple of wins over conference opponents, and this weekend's a big weekend for us as well. We play at Brockport and at Geneseo, and I think we'll be ready to compete. It's a very good start, and looking forward to the rest of the year as well.
Right. Now, when you get started, we've got some new faces this year, but we did have quite a few returning players. Of the returning players, why don't we, we're going to have Lauren on the show, one of our team captains. Why don't we talk about a couple of the other players who might have, maybe were in and out of the lineup last year and maybe now are fitting in somewhere. Why don't we talk about some of those players?
Of the returning players, we were fortunate to have Danielle Browarski back. She's our #1 player this year. She was our #1 player last year. She was one of the top players in the conference. Always great to have one of the top players in the conference return, and she's only a junior, so she'll be back next year. That's very exciting. And you mentioned Lauren. Lauren's a young player as well, and we'll be thrilled to see her continue to develop, and she's just an outstanding player, outstanding leader for us. Then we also have Emily Maggiore, and Emily is a sophomore this year, and she has moved up from where she was kind of out of the lineup last year, getting to play some singles and doubles, but now she is firmly in our #4 singles position, and she has just improved tremendously, just doing a great job. And lastly, we have Jen and Nina Vlodarchuk. Jen has moved up into that 5 and 6 singles position, and she's just playing great, great tennis. Nina's a natural doubles player, and we're getting her in as often as we can as well. And so a nice core group of young players, and not one senior on the team. So it's exciting. Exciting to have them all back next year.
Now, as a coach, is it? I mean, we all like to win, obviously. But is it even more exciting to watch some of these young players who may come into your program, like an Emily Maggiore, who comes in and they're kind of in the lineup but not really, and now boom, she's in the #4 spot. I mean, how rewarding is that as well as a coach?
Incredibly rewarding. Danielle Browarski might have been the first person who made that incredibly big jump. She played #5 singles her freshman year, Danielle did, and jumped up all the way last year to #1 singles. Lauren and Emily have done the same thing. They have gone from a fairly low position in the lineup, or maybe even just outside the lineup at times, all the way to Lauren is now a #3 player, and I think she's one of the very best 3 players in our conference. When people see her step on the court at 3, they're going to remember her last year as, maybe not so great, maybe, but when they see her now, they're going to think, wow, who is this girl? I don't even recognize her from last year. And she has improved dramatically, just tremendous. And it's so rewarding to see players really take it seriously. Work hard, go away for the summer, come back on fire, ready to compete at a new level.
Now, it's because it's an individual sport. I mean, obviously you compete as a team for points and those kinds of things. But they really do have to take it upon themselves to really get that, improve. I mean, you can teach them, if there's technical things and maybe strategy-wise, but really all the rest of it has to come from them and the drive to do that. I mean, so what kinds of things, do you encourage them to do during the off-season?
We do a conditioning plan that is divided up into 5 segments, and we give those to our student athletes. They have them during the year 2, and we do one of those conditioning segments each practice. But then in the off-season, they get those conditioning segments, and it really becomes their responsibility to get into the gym, to continue to do these conditioning segments, to continue to work hard. I think what's really somewhat unique about tennis, as it is an individual sport, everyone's game is very different from each other's. You have people who are the big hitters, their points go quickly, and they don't exhaust themselves often during a match. You have the other kind of player who is often called a pusher. I like to call them just very patient people, and they work for it. Their points are much slower, their rallies are much longer, and they tend to need to be in much better condition and ready to compete for the long run. It could be usually a 3-set match. And so for everyone, what they do in the off-season is somewhat based on their unique game.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the new players in our program this year who are already in our lineup, making an impact. Why don't we talk a little bit about those players?
2 in particular in our lineup. Bryn Sussman, she arrived, and we knew she was going to be a very good player. That's why we were recruiting her. About everyone we were recruiting is a very good player. We had special hopes for Bryn to be as good as she is, and she has not disappointed at all. She came in and she competed immediately for the #1 single spot. I think Danielle felt a little pressure trying to keep that. Bryn earned the #2 singles position for us, and she has just been outstanding in that spot so far. I believe she has lost just 1 match so far in singles. I think she's 4-1 so far at the #2 singles spot. And then another gal we have that's new is Colette Lankwitz. Colette, when we've spoken early in the season, she said, "Coach, I've never really played much singles. I pretty much played doubles in high school." And I believe she might be 4-1 in singles now as well.
Right.
She's just had a great start to her career. We're incredibly excited about her as well. And she does bring that doubles presence as well. She knows what to do when she gets up to the net, and that's very exciting.
Right, and how important is that? I mean, you know, you want a great singles player, but in a team concept, you really do need those players that maybe won't play singles for you, but you put them in doubles and they're all over the, you know what I mean, like they really add to your team. I mean, so how important is it to pick those kinds of players as well?
Well, it's really important. In tennis, it's a 9-point match. There are 3 doubles matches and 6 singles matches, and each one is worth 1 point. So one no more or less valuable than the other. So if you've got a person who hasn't really played a lot of singles in their career, but they've played a lot of doubles, they can come in and they can earn that point just like a great singles player who hasn't played as much doubles.
Right.
And so it's really, really incredibly important to have a mixture of both. We'd love to have those players who are incredible at singles and incredible at doubles, and we search for those. We often find them, but we also love the specialists, the ones who are just great at one or the other. It works for us.
Right. Now let's move on a little bit. We'll segue into the men's side of the ledger. We've already played a couple matches. We talked to Joe about the Flower City tournament, how we competed against 3 very good teams. That tournament has, I mean, you know, has a lot of good teams that play in that tournament. We made it to the championship match, but we also have some new faces this year. So talk a little bit about the men's program and how the start has gone to the season.
The start really has been very exciting for the men's season as well. When we started the Flower City tournament this year, we had 5 new faces in our starting lineup, including a new number 1 player,
yep.
David Goldberg, who is a freshman this year. And we weren't exactly sure how we were going to do. I could tell we were talented. We were hitting the ball very well, and the practices were just brutal in terms of how hard the people were playing to earn their spots. But for the Flower City tournament, we weren't seeded this year. Last year, we won the championship. This year, we weren't seeded because I think the seeders of the tournament knew we had lost most of our lineup from last year.
Right.
And we wound up beating St. Lawrence, who's always a very good team and was ranked last year. Then we went to Rochester and wound up beating Rochester in a very, very good match. And as Joey mentioned, that was a special match because last year they had beaten us 7-2 and in a very, very, very tight match. This year we turned the tables a little bit, still a very tight match, but we prevailed this time 5-3. David Goldberg is our number 1 player as a freshman. Adam Shapiro is a senior, and he at this time is number 2. And we've got a freshman playing number 3 singles as well, Mackenzie Park. And Mackenzie is just a beast. I think he's around 6'3", 6'4", hits everything hard, and he and David make up our number 1 doubles team. So very, very young doubles team at number 1 doubles. And then at number 2 doubles, we have 2 seniors, Adam Shapiro and Josh Slifkin. So we have, the 2 extremes playing 1 doubles and 2 doubles. And our team is really, I think, starting to mold really well. And I don't know, it's going to be a very, very, very good season, and I'm looking forward to the spring.
Right. Now, some of those guys that are on our team, the seniors, notably, they were part of the team when we were in the NEAC conference. Yes. And quite a few of them, I mean, I think every one of them was at least a champion at either doubles or singles. Mm-hmm. Now we're playing an independent kind of a schedule where we have to really beat the teams in our region and maybe nationally. So when we build the schedule, we're going to Middlebury again in the spring. Last year there was Middlebury, Connecticut College, and Brandeis was there.
Yep.
For our program, trying to build that trying to build that reputation, how important is it to play that caliber of school?
Really important. I think our reputation has improved year in and year out, and I think teams of that caliber want to play us now. They see a benefit to playing us, right, because we'll challenge them a little bit, and it's worth their effort to contact us to play. So we do. We play Middlebury, and we play in that tournament again this year. NYU sometimes comes to that tournament. This year now we have Colby College on our schedule. Wheaton is back on our schedule. And playing all those good teams not only raises our level of play, but gives us an opportunity to demonstrate that we're deserving of an at-large berth when the time comes.
Right, because of course, not being in a conference, we have to rely on that at-large berth, Pool B to get into the NCAA tournament. Do you think that hampers us at all in any way, our program, or is it just I'm trying to put the best team together? And
I think really for all coaches, we're all trying to put the very best team together. I think if you belong to a conference that is fairly weak, the opportunity to go to the Nationals is a little bit higher, but then you're not as prepared probably once you get to the Nationals after playing those weaker teams.
Right.
So it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. Really, we get to play an outstanding schedule because we're not in a conference, and if we're deserving, we'll go to the Nationals.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of the way, I mean, for being independent, as they would consider that, certainly is the right philosophy. Any predictions for this year? I mean, we play the Women's SUNY Championship in the fall, but yet the national tournament is in the spring, for both men and women. Just on the women's side of that, I mean, how hard is that? I mean, we win the SUNY and now you've got to really try and gear a spring schedule to get yourself ready for the national tournament. I mean, New Paltz and Geneseo have both been in the last 3 years from our conference, and maybe haven't fared as well as maybe they thought they might have. What do you think that might be due to, or how hard is that to try and prepare a team for a spring championship?
There are a couple challenges with it. When we're trying to prepare for the national championship in the spring, the weather is always an iffy kind of thing. You're not quite sure what you're going to get. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's a real challenge. And so indoor practice time becomes somewhat of a challenge for us compared to maybe some other schools, private schools that have indoor opportunities. And I think that's where sometimes the edge is gained by some of the private schools and how we might do in the national championships. Maybe we haven't quite had as much practice time or preparation time as maybe some of those schools. Nevertheless, though, I think we're all shooting for a spring schedule that will help us prepare to play. And we can't let that one challenge stop us from being as successful as we want to be. We just have to keep fighting through that. There are ways to practice indoors and opportunities in the area. We just take those. Yep.
And then, of course, in the spring, our schedule includes, we play Wheaton in the women's side. I mean, we play some good teams in the spring for the women. We also go down to Florida and play some matches down there. So, I mean, it seems like the way you're gearing your schedule would be conducive to, hey, if we're in the national tournament, we're going to be ready to play anyway.
We'll be prepared. That's right.
Well, we certainly hope you're there. We wish you good luck for the fall. And then, of course, as we get into the spring, there'll be a lot more tennis to play. And thanks for coming by tonight.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank head men's and women's tennis coach Bill May for coming by this evening. And after the break, I'll be joined by tonight's final guest, sophomore Lauren Skolnick.
It's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah. Too bad your boat's gonna sink at 11:05.
Don't come closer. I have rabies. Don't you wish there were warnings to protect you from life's risks? With diabetes, there is one. It's called A1C, a simple blood test that helps measure your risk of serious complications. Learn more at diabetesaonc.org.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is sophomore women's tennis captain Lauren Skolnick.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Lauren. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Long Island, Suffolk County, Sayville. I don't know if anyone knows it. My major is Child and Family Studies, which is like social work I want to go into, hopefully.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, we certainly, your season is off and running. We played a couple of weekends of matches, including some SUNY East matches.
Yep.
How's it going so far?
Good. Very good. We're 4-1 right now. Tough match against New Paltz, but me and Danielle, we played first doubles. We came on top against, I forget their names, Montana and Paige. So it's very good. I was excited to beat them. Good start, because New Paltz first doubles was SUNY champs last year. Right. So it's nice to know that we got the edge over them this year. But yeah, tough singles match I played, but a lot of fun. Danielle came on top there. So.
Right now, being paired with Danielle, of course, now she's, she's like veteran of the group now. She's only a
Yeah.
junior, but it seems like she's been here longer than that. She's a good player. What's it like to play doubles with Danielle?
It's an honor, honestly. Like I didn't really play like consistently last year in the lineup, so watching her, I was always so like, wow, I would love to play with her, and it's finally here, and I'm just so honored. And we have great chemistry. We're good friends on and off the court. Both captains. It's a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Now, chemistry is important for doubles.
Yeah, definitely.
What kinds of things do you kind of like? What do you work with? How do you work together? I mean, you know what?
Well, communication. Like if like a ball lobs over me, for example, you could say, and we just have to switch. Like we know like when to hit whose ball, go for volleys. We use our call signals to like for servings and like set up points and stuff.
So really, after a while, it becomes you know exactly where the other person's going to go, how they're going to react.
It's very natural. I feel like even for the first like 5 matches, we've been very natural with it. So it can only get better.
Yeah. Because you'll have all this year, and then of course you'll have all next year as well.
Yeah, we have one more year too. That's exciting.
Now, being a captain as a sophomore, let's talk a little bit about the transition from high school to last year. Coming in as a freshman, what was your athletic experience like?
In high school, I played first doubles all throughout. I played soccer actually my freshman year, so I didn't even play tennis. But sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school, I was on the tennis team, first doubles, actually with Colette Lankowitz on the team. This team here, we're best friends from home and here, so we live together. Very nice. It's nice having her. Good addition. But yeah, I mean, when I came in here freshman year, I was very excited. Obviously, knew everything. I didn't really come out on top where I wanted to be in the beginning. In freshman year, I was very nervous, a lot of anxiety. Like I wasn't really prepared for what came of it. So I mean, I ended up playing third doubles though, which was really good. I played with Liz Flaman last year, so. But yeah, we did good. And then I played singles every so often. The spring season was a lot better for me. I came in, we had a new post tournament. I played like third singles sometime. Like I switched around, but I was playing a lot better, and I knew. So I trained all summer. Like I played on a USTA team. I played singles all summer. I was training, running, getting better shape. And I came here and I was just very comfortable. Like I knew what was going on. I was ready. I was running. I was just comfortable. I knew all the girls coming back. I knew where I was living. Just a lot better this year.
So it seems like that the freshman anxiety that first semester, you settled in the second semester.
Definitely, yeah.
And then now I mean, from the sounds of it, it sounds like the commitment, the desire, and all that just kind of has fallen into place for you now.
Yeah, I couldn't be any happier. I'm happy as I've ever been in a very long time.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And certainly you're playing that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Being a captain as a sophomore, I mean, that's a pretty big honor. I mean.
Yeah, I was honored when my teammates picked me. There's a couple older girls, so I felt a little guilty at first when I got it over them, but I'm very honored that they all picked me, my teammates. So.
Now, what do you think that will do for you down the road? I mean, of course, when you move on to your senior year and you go out and try and find jobs, I mean, being a captain, I mean, do you think that's going to?
I'm very excited to have it on my resume, and Coach also picks me as a SAC member and a captain leadership program. It's great to be in those too. It's good to put on my resume. I'm also in a community service group on campus, so I'm just trying to build up my resume. I'm still young, so I have plenty of time. I'm trying to do lead credits, stuff like that.
And those are the kinds of things that a lot of our student athletes or students, just general students, don't know a lot about. Those programs are there for you to be able to build your resume and work at things. For you, you're going to learn some leadership skills in our Captain's Leadership Program and being a member of SAC. You're also going to be involved in our community service.
Yeah.
And, I mean, how important are those kinds of things for the overall experience for you as a student athlete?
I try to be as committed as I can to being at the college. Like, I want to be involved. I want to meet new people. I want to, build up my resume. I want to have, because of my major is child and family studies, so it's very, social work-ish. So I want to be able to talk to people better, communicate. It's good for my communication skills and stuff like that, and leading and.
Right. I mean, so it seems like personal growth. I mean, those kinds of things are certainly important, and that's part of the whole Division III philosophy of participating and competing. And you may not win every match, but yet.
But I'm still having the time of my life. I know it's not the best, but I mean, I don't know. It's good though. I'm very happy.
Well, and certainly we're glad that you're here at Oneonta, and we're glad that you're taking advantage of all the programs and things that you can. And certainly we look forward to the rest of this year. And we hope that in the last 2 years, who knows what will come of when you're a senior. I mean,
can't
2 years.
Believe it. I can't believe I'm a sophomore already. It's so fast.
So 2 years from now, hopefully maybe we'll get you back and we'll talk about what it's like to be a senior
now.
on the women's tennis team. So thanks for coming by
thank
tonight.
you so much.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank all my guests tonight, including Lauren, for coming by. And as always, you can always check out our website for the latest news and scores and results. And also, you can follow us on Twitter at Red Dragon Sports. And please go out and like our Facebook page because we post plenty of stuff there as well. So thanks for joining me this week on Inside Red Dragon Sports, and we'll see you next time.